Have you ever been out there? Yeah, maybe if you get a chance next year, send some, when you get some extra things, let me know, we can go out if you're interested. It's a really, really cool station.
Hello.
Yes, hello? Hello.
What a nice audience, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he ain't kidding, folks. Now, Max says he's going to walk on the pool and we're going to see how it works.
And the two of us just, our brainwaves.
That might get you brought up here.
Do that.
All right, folks, welcome to our panel on convention horror stories and war stories. My name is Night Panther. I have Danny over here.
Hello.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Danny. I'm the co-chair of Brazil Fur Fest, the first furry convention in Brazil in South America. So it's a pleasure to be here and share a little bit of our cozy convention here.
And for those who don't know me, my name is Night Panther. I am one of the board of directors here with Megaplex. I'm also the lead of logistics. I have been with this convention nearly 15 years, so I have seen a lot of things. A lot of things that shouldn't be repeated, but if I scrub the right parts of it out and don't have their names, yeah, I can probably get away with saying some of these things. The only rule we usually have for any of our stories is it has to have happened 3 years prior or longer back, nothing newer. Because we kind of want to protect anyone that we start saying a story and they're going, oh, I know who it is, and they're going to point to somebody else in the audience, and that person's going to kind of go down going, no, it wasn't me.
I don't need to follow this rule because Brazil is like 3 years far from here.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Well, we were expecting KP to come up and hang out with us. I don't see him unless he's hiding in the audience, which no, I don't see him at the moment.
How did you handle the line yesterday and today? It was wrong.
No, I think I see him.
Sorry, I did that.
Yep, I see one of my logistics members walking in a little late. I have your badge in my room. I'll bring it down to you either tonight or tomorrow morning. You're on acrylic. You already have your regular one.
I have what?
I was talking about Ronson.
Oh, okay.
Well,
No,
KP.
I have my badge here.
If you didn't have your badge, I'd be a little worried.
If I didn't have my badge, I'd be relieved.
You don't get to be relieved that easily.
Oh. Are you sure?
Well, I don't know. You're a former member of our board. You know more about it than I do.
Look at the hat that I'm wearing. You sure? I'm being relieved.
No comment.
I gotta give this back to somebody too, 'cause it's not. Trying to be supportive.
All right, folks.
Some humor flies over.
Yep.
Oh, wait, there's two seats. There were 2 seats right there. Oops.
No. There's no B raccoon. This is a community, a specific community thing.
Yeah.
And I'm being very supportive. Because anybody that picks on any specific community that is not hurting you, I don't care if your ass gets kicked out of here or not. You don't belong here.
There you go.
If you're part of the furry community and you're not hurting anybody, you're just trying to be yourself, and you're having a good time, and someone is judging you for being you, you are not in the right place. Sorry, Megaplex is not for you if you want to judge everybody based on things that you shouldn't be judging them. Go away. Yes. Sorry. Off my soapbox. If people are creeping on you, that's a different story. But if you're just judging someone for wearing a hat, that's not political. Yes. But anyway, hi everybody. Is it time yet?
Oh yeah, we're a little bit late. We were waiting on you.
You're waiting on
quick
me?
introduction. So now we're gonna let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm me.
Nice to meet you, me.
Yes, my name is KP. I helped start this damn event 23 years ago. I'm really sorry.
We're not.
for those that don't know me, yes, I was one of the original founders of Megaplex. I was the chairman for a number of years. I was on the board of directors for a number of years. Step back, I do mostly public relations now. I'm also on the board of directors of Anthrocon. I do public relations there. I've been an adjunct PR consultant to about 15 different furry conventions around the world. And I've been on the Fundy Paw Pet Show for over 20 years. And I'm old and I forget things. So whatever I say, I'm never going to remember it. No, that's not the best part, but it's a perk. And I don't drink, so everything I'm saying, I'm stone cold sober. And unfiltered.
Yeah, there's no filter here on that.
So what do y'all want to hear? You're here to hear war stories from conventions. What do you want to know that we're not supposed to talk about? Yes.
So what's like the craziest thing you've ever had to deal with here, like the most...
That I'm allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's put a pin in that one. I'm gonna have to think because there's been a few. Someone else here had another question. Yes. First Megaplex. Right.
That was when this gentleman was walking the earth for the first time.
All right. So first Megaplex was in 2002. Yeah, and that's actually how we used to remember what number the convention was. Whatever year it was, up until COVID anyway, subtract 1, and that's what Megaplex number it was. So if it was the year 2002, it was Megaplex 1. If it was 2008, it was Megaplex 7. It was done that way, but that's how I remembered it. Megaplex 1 was actually not called Megaplex. It was officially called Paw Pet Megaplex because the crew of the Fundy Paw Pet Show were some of the founders, among other people that were local to Orlando. That event was formed from another event that was supposed to happen that got canceled about 2 months before the event was supposed to happen. A whole bunch of people already had their tickets and hotel rooms, and no con was going to happen. So we decided as a group, we're going to form a corporation real quick, and we're going to have this event, and we called it Paw Pet Megaplex. Megaplex kind of referred to the hotel. The hotel had 7 programming rooms, and it was, to me, it reminded us of a movie Cineplex, where you had a different theater and something different was going on in every room. That's how we programmed it. So we called it a Megaplex. There were other connotations with that word. We won't go into that. Right? We'll talk about that in another 20 years. It was officially at a hotel that we very affectionately called the Dandruff Hotel. Does anybody know why we called it the Dandruff Hotel?
I don't want to know.
It's snowy.
No. The pool. Yes, it had to do with the pool. So what happened, this particular hotel, I'm going to kind of draw a diagram with my finger on the wall, and I want you to use theater of the mind. So this area up here was the programming space. It had a glass wall that you could look through, and you could see all of the 7 function spaces. Then there was a piece of concrete right here where you could step off and like walk around a swimming pool. And then you could walk around concrete, and then there was grass, like a grassy plant area here, and then there were hotel rooms here and here. There was a driveway here, and there were more rooms around it. Well, this swimming pool area had a very lovely, in quotation marks, covering, like a patio portico share, but you couldn't drive through it. So it was like a patio covering, but it was made out of stucco. And it covered you in case it started to rain. As many of you have seen in Orlando, things happen with weather. Why you'd want to go swimming when it's lightning, I don't know, but that's your choice. But there was this covering over the swimming pool. It was made of stucco, and it was painted, and it was made of stucco, and then it was painted again. When you have, if you've never lived in Florida, you know that stucco and paint over a humid body of water is going to peel a lot. Yeah. And so when you went in the swimming pool, if there was any kind of a breeze, there was a high probability of this curling, peeling paint to fall into the pool. So it was affectionately known as the Dandruff Hotel because it felt like the pool's roof had dandruff and was showering it on you as you decided to playfully swim in the pool. But that was Megaplex. That was Megaplex 1, and the lovely hotel that we were in, and lovely in quotation, air quotes. Hopefully you think that the hotel we're in now is slightly better, because it's not shedding dandruff on you, doesn't need Head and Shoulders.
By leaps and bounds.
By leaps and bounds. And how many of you, there were not many of you last night, but how many of you attempted to go to Cards Against Humanity, and I ended up having to tell stories to entertain people? So you know about my roommate fox friend at Megaplex 1.
Yep.
For those that don't know, this is the other part of the horror story. I had a friend from Texas who has a fox character. He is a living cartoon character in real life. And he thinks all wolves are stinky and that they walk around with real stink lines wafting over their heads. And he thinks he's a very fluffy fox. And he's cursed because he breaks everything he touches. And he was my roommate for Megaplex 1. So he told me in his little cartoony voice, "JP, I'm gonna go back to the room." And I was like, okay, I got stuff to do, I'll be back there later. It's 2 to 3 hours later, and I have not seen my fox friend, trying not to name him because there's a lot of cameras around. But I had not seen him. I asked everybody, hey, where is he? And they were like, I have not seen him. I'm like, okay, that's odd. Let me go back to the room, make sure he didn't fall asleep on the bed. And he's just sleeping the day away. I get into the room, and as soon as the door opens, I'm like, Mr. Fox. Trying not to say the name. Mr. Fox, are you around? And this little voice comes from the bathroom. KP. And I'm like, where are you? I'm in the bathroom. And I'm like, what's wrong? Why are you in the bathroom? I can't get out. So I walk over to the bathroom door. Now this is an old, like almost motor hotel or motel, where you kind of walk straight through. There are 2 beds to the side, TV on the left. You walk through, there's a sink in front of you, and there's a bathroom door. Walk to the bathroom door, and I try to grab the doorknob, and the handle comes right off in my hand. And I'm like, oh my God, the doorknob's broke. And then you just hear this panic, get me out of here! So I'm like, okay, I call maintenance, they come up. They obviously have had this problem because they brought out this screwdriver with the weirdest bit on the end of it. It looks like it was used to fire a Saturn V rocket. You put it in the doorknob and he turns it, and there is my fox friend sitting on the toilet, hugging his knees, trembling. And I'm like, are you okay? And he just holds the other end of the doorknob. It came off my hand. And I'm like, okay, you broke the room. That's fine. We'll get another room. So I call the front desk. I go up. I get another room. They move all of our luggage to room number 2. When we move it to room number 2, I'm like, okay, Mr. Fox, I need to go back to the con space. Please don't break this room. And he's like, what is my fault? I'm like, just don't break the room. I walk out. About 25 minutes later, wasn't quite half an hour, close, I get a phone call on my then non-smart cell phone. And the little fox's name is on it. I answer it, hello? KP? And I was like, yeah? Can you come here, please? And I'm like, what's wrong? I don't want to drown. And I'm like, what did you do? Please come. And I'm like, okay. I walk out to the room, open the door. He is on the bed, hugging his knees, and the faucet that you look straight ahead is shooting up like a fountain. I'm like, what did you do? And he holds out the handle to the faucet. It came off in my hand. And I'm like, you broke a second room. It wasn't my fault. And I'm like, okay, hang on. I call maintenance. They come up. And they're like, why didn't you just shut off the valve underneath? And I asked him the same question. And he's like, I was afraid it would break. So the guy comes in, he asks the question, I was afraid it would break. So he turns the thing off, and he goes, you're gonna need to go to another room, because I can't fix this like right away. So we get a key, and these are the old keys. These are not electric card keys. These are physical keys on a plastic key ring. He gives me a third one, and the guy from maintenance helps us move another 2 doors down, and he goes, please don't break this room. And I'm like, okay. So as Mr. Fox starts looking through his luggage on the bed, that door closes, I'm like, Mr. Fox, trying not to say his name, Mr. Fox, don't break this room. And he's like, but it wasn't my fault. And I'm like, don't break this room. Can I watch TV? And I was like, yes, you can watch television, just don't break the room. So I give him the remote. It was on the nightstand. He goes over to the armoire, opens the door, and the door comes off in his hand. And I'm looking at him in disbelief, and all he does is do this. He turns around with this thing, he turns around and goes, it wasn't my fault. So I said, give me the door. But it wasn't. Give me the door. Give me the door. I slide it in the space in between the TV and the wall of the armoire. I open the other door carefully, push it in so it looks like it's been that way. And I said, get on the bed. He's like, but it was, get on the bed. So he sits on the bed. I give him the remote. I'm like, you're allowed to walk from the bed to the door to leave the room. You may carefully turn the knob. If the knob doesn't come off in your hand, you're allowed to start gently pulling it. What if I need to go to the bathroom? You're not allowed to touch anything else in this room. My credit card can't handle this. And he's like, but it wasn't my... Get on the bed! He gets on the bed. He tries to turn on the television. The remote's not working. I'm like, give me that remote. I open it up. I jiggle the batteries, put it back in. I turn the television on. You can touch the numbers and the enter key, and that's it. For the rest of the weekend, all he was allowed to touch was the door knob to get in and out of the room, sit on the bed, and he could turn the television on and off. That was it. And everybody, that was Megaplex #1 for me. Yes.
That sounds like me and my partner, who is also a fox for some reason. I wonder if that's anything.
Does he eat a lot of blueberries?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. So, yes, that's one thing we found is that this particular cartoon fox eats a lot of blueberries, breaks everything, and hates getting his paws sticky. I don't know if that's unique to foxes, but that was this fox. Yes.
Because as soon as we entered the room here, one of the little lights on the corner of the bed wasn't working. And I was like, okay, bulb burned out. I turn around. 5 seconds later, clunk.
Okay,
I turn
so
around.
make sure you tell him he's allowed to sit on the bed. He's allowed to turn the television on and off only with the remote. And he's only allowed to walk to the door and open or close it. And he's not allowed to touch anything else. If he touches the mini fridge, you, sir, are on your own. Yes. Yes.
So, being Megaplex staff, we all have those cons where nothing goes right. What was your con that nothing went right?
A con where nothing went right? Nothing went right.
Oh, the hotel room key cards or the badges? We're gonna need them?
No, I don't think I've ever had a con where nothing went right. I do recall Megaplex 3, which is actually one of my favorite cons. But that was the con where we had our first experience with people in the hotel that didn't like us and started saying, hi, I'm a high dollar, like Radisson or Sheraton member. I don't like these people.
On my radar.
Yeah, you need to get them out of this hotel or I'm not renewing my gold status or something like that. That was an interesting thing. No, got it. Got it. That just reminded me. It was Megaplex 8. 8? 8, yes. The 1950s theme. No, that would have been 8 or 11. It was the 1950s theme, Rockin' at the Hop. It was our first Megaplex at the Marriott. If anybody remembers, it was a Marriott that had the kind of funny, scriptic Marriott logo, and the top of the A burned out, so it looked like a U. So it was M-U-R-R-I-O-T, so it was the Marriott. Highly
One of the
appropriate.
best pools ever.
They did have a great pool, but there was a set of other guests that were there.
Oh God, not them.
We called them the Pink Dragon Ladies.
Oh God.
They were with a group called EF, and it's not Eurofrance. It was Expedition First? Education First. Education First. They brought in exchange students from Europe, mostly Germany, to come and spend a week or two every year in that hotel. And then they would change them out and bring in another set of exchange students. Exchange students from Germany start drinking at a very young age. And these Pink Dragon ladies were in their 60s and they didn't approve. And our people drink at any age because they just do, and these Pink Dragon ladies did not approve, and they didn't approve of the fact that we wore costumes, and didn't approve of the fact that we had loud parties, and didn't approve of the fact that we had to breathe. They did not like us. So they insisted that we divide the elevator bank so that the elevators on this side were for us, and the elevators on this side were for their students, and never the twain shall meet. So they had double stanchions between the two lists, and heaven forbid any Megaplex attendee tried to use the other elevator bank. They started screaming and hollering, and they eventually posted on all of the floors that they had kids on, a chair in front of the gateway between the elevator bank and the hallway. They had a chair there, and they were watching. If anybody tried to get off on the wrong floor, they were there to immediately, you're on the wrong floor. Yeah, they made life really, 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 really interesting and comfortable. But we eventually let them know that we had a contract with the hotel, and some of our people are on some of those floors, and they are actually legally allowed to get to their own rooms. And they did not like that. So we found another hotel because that particular group had a long-standing, like, multi-session contract throughout the entire summer every single year. And us having a single weekend once a year, we didn't have the negotiating power. So we moved from there to the one year that we were in, what was that hotel? It was the one where we had the big Howl Fest in the middle of the Embassy Suites. The one and only time we were there, we moved there. Everybody loved that hotel, but it just couldn't handle us.
That was our first official hotel buyout in Megaplex history.
It was also the first hotel where we had someone jump from the 6th floor down to the ground level and hurt themselves. Yeah, he survived. He lived. Foxes have 9 lives.
And he went through 7 of them right there.
Yeah, he survived because he crash landed on a padded bench.
The bench exploded.
The bench exploded. If anybody knows Simba, who is with the Paw Pet Show, big muscular guy, shorter guy, but very buff and muscular, he was sitting on the ground level, and when that happened, he just heard the crash, and he goes, that was a person, and ran straight to the body and got the ambulance. Everybody started getting the ambulances and whatnot. Bad story, sad story, but he survived. Hopefully he's still okay, but that is that's another weird.
To put it in perspective, he still hasn't learned his lesson. He did something stupid not that long after that, and everyone at first was like, "Oh, he's just fine. He'll be okay." He posted a picture of himself getting severe frostbite at one point, to the point where they almost took his hands, and everyone went, "You aren't that good at thinking, are you?"
I saw a hand over here. Yes.
Jumped or fell?
Flew. Flew. All I will say is he was under the influence. Now, I'm not going to say under the influence of what. No, I don't know. But he was alone when it happened, and he flew. He thought he was a bird.
And you crashed all the way up to the 4th floor.
Yeah. So I was on the 5th floor, and I heard it.
Oh, we were on the 4th and we heard it.
Yeah, I think the people on the 17th floor heard it too. I don't think there was any getting away from that noise. Does everybody else have it? Yes.
So wait, you said the first time. How many times has this happened?
Well, how dumb can some people be?
Welcome to the furry community, folks.
Yeah, but this particular person kind of has a bit of a history of erratic, irrational behavior. Again, I'm not going to call out names because it's not a good idea. But this particular person has done many things that have injured himself in many ways.
You're not saying that he should be locked away, but somebody should be keeping an eye on him. Preferably.
If they made padded fursuits, we would request one for him.
Yeah. Okay, so that is karma saying, hey everybody, be careful what you suggest. We may do this to him. Yes. Can we if anybody can turn that light back on, that would be
You should, on that panel right there, it should just say on or off.
There we go. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I did because they were afraid of furries, but I'm pretty sure, I probably won't get me playing, but I'm pretty sure they won't be able to try that same stunt again. Like if you were
I don't think that they're allowed to be above the 2nd floor of any hotel, building, apartment, or cat townhouse ever again. Yes.
Even goes near strip school.
Tell us the story of a disaster averted.
A story of a disaster averted. Danny, do you have a story of a disaster averted? A disaster that you stopped for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
I cannot tell.
you cannot tell it. Okay. A disaster.
It would be international news.
Okay. A disaster.
That makes it even better.
Could have happened, but didn't.
If I didn't have cameras here, you could tell, but I have a lot of cameras.
Okay. Disaster averted. Anthrocon. Oh, Anthrocon. I'm glad Kagi's chairman of that event because I don't want that job. People have asked me, would you ever be the chairman of Anthrocon? My answer is hell no. I'm happy doing PR. You get to deal with all that crap. Disaster averted. Anthrocon, it was, I think, our 2nd year in Pittsburgh, I think. So that would have been 2007. We had, I think that was the year, so don't quote me on it, but I believe that was the year. We had a gentleman who decided early on that imbibing in certain libations made things really fun. And certain acts of fun included crawling over the railing that led to the overlook of the Allegheny River and walking around the rooftop on the opposite side of that railing at night.
I think I remember this. Was that the infamous Mr. K?
I don't remember what letter we gave him. My calling of him is Mr. Jackass.
Well, that's the non-public relations standard.
Right. Hey, it's statute of limitations. I can call him whatever the heck I want. But yeah, this guy was drunk and decided to climb over the railing and was hanging on over the 3rd floor of the 3rd floor overlook over the Allegheny River. That is 3 stories down with with ceiling heights that are well in excess of 12 feet per floor because it's a taller building that's green, so it has a lot of like air vents and stuff in between the floors. And the spot where the Allegheny River meets the convention center is not very deep, and it's full of rocks and glass and sharp things. This is the place where mobsters would probably drop things, and people would not dare to go look for them there, or people. He was pulled over by security pulled over the railing to get back to a safe spot before he was able to fall. Which he probably would have, just based on his mental state. And we almost lost use of the convention center, the entire like outdoor sections of the convention center. Anything that overlooked the river and anything that where you could have walked out and looked over a rail, which means all outdoor spaces. We had to make an agreement with the convention center to buy extra insurance that year to guarantee that we would not have a problem. So that was the disaster averted. The other disaster averted is that gentleman was sent a bill for the insurance policy that we had to take out. You ever receive a bill for over $100,000? He did. And he was like, as soon as you pay this bill, you're welcome to come back to Anthrocon.
Oh no.
So he hasn't been back.
Funny story to that. That was my first ever convention. That was the first any furry convention I did. It was that year of Anthrocon. So I remember first day, oh, you go look out on the river. Next day, why are there signs on the door saying you're not allowed to go out here? And then we started hearing the rumor mill, and we started hearing more, and then all of a sudden Kage said something about just Mr. K, and this and that, and we're like, okay. A couple years later, he tells one of his stories, and he brings that name up, and I put it together and went, oh, so that's why we were blocked. Can we send another bill, please?
What year was that?
That was probably, like I said, we moved to Pittsburgh in 2006. That would have been, it would have been 2006, 2007, or 2008. I think it was 07, but it was in that time frame. Because there was a lot of stuff that happened in that time frame as we were settling into that building in the west.
Why was it going for $100,000? I mean, what?
How what?
Why was it $100,000?
So the reason that the cost was so high is because we had to insure the entire David Lawrence Convention Center against jumpers.
So it was a liability
It
insurance.
was a liability insurance
Yeah, to put a
bill.
huge rider on it.
That's a big convention center. It is not quite as big as the Orange County Convention Center, but it's pretty close. Imagine taking out an insurance policy on that entire building for a weekend.
Please don't say that.
That's what we had to do to not lose the ability to use the building. We eventually got it offset, and a lot of it was refunded. Large amount of it was refunded. But we were very happy to send him a bill with the actual invoice for it before we got some refunds on it. So it wasn't quite as expensive to the convention, but it was still money that, unfortunately, that money lost is money that came straight out of services for attendees. So he cost people an ability for us to give them cool things back here. Yes. Yes.
I'm actually curious. When we were first sat here, we were told these stories would not go back more than 3 years.
Hmm?
All these have gone back more than 10 years.
No, the rule is that you can't do it within the current 3 years. So this is 2025. I can't speak from anything from 2022 to now.
Oh,
So if something happened last year, which, oh yes, I have a few.
Yeah, we all do.
I cannot speak to those. But anything beyond that, that's fair game.
you guys talk about life.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
You guys have gone over dangerous things and risky things.
Yes.
What's the grossest thing you've ever seen?
The grossest thing? Okay. All right.
Can we include staff members in on this?
Yeah. Okay. So the grossest thing that. Do you want gross comedic or gross gross? Okay. Okay. So there are two different things that could have qualified as the grossest things that I've ever seen, or that I know of. One is the actual origin of litter boxes at FurryCon story. Or, does anybody know what a bar rag is?
No.
The alcoholic beverage called a bar rag. It's when you have a whole bunch of leftover drinks of a bunch of things and you just mix them together. The Cup. The Cup was at Anthrocon in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. Long story short, a group of us were just in a room having a good time, and a bunch of us had little small tiny amounts of beverages ranging from chocolate milk or cocoa and coffee to vodka and orange juice and all kinds of things. They were all poured into this cup. One of the things was club soda, or Coca-Cola, one or the other. And this thing that was in this cup, it is a new life form. I'm certain of it. Because it had a head on it, like a head of beer, only it was like a hydra. You could take one head off and 4 more would show up on it. And it was bubbling, and it was pulsing, and it was gross. It looked like somebody had spewed something with orange juice and milk and soda pop all together and bubbling. And it smelled like bad, cheap vodka. It was terrible. And we ended up putting it as a joke in the elevator, one of the elevators. And there were several security calls. I'm shortening the story. There were several security calls saying, hey, can somebody please check out reports of a cup in elevators tonight? And then one of my friends from Florida, Raspar, he was a staffer for a long time. He ran outside and he would remove the cup as the elevator bank would come down, and they would go down to the ground floor and security would find nothing. And then they would report, there's no cup on elevator number 2. And as soon as it came back up, he would stop it on floor 3 where we were and put it right back in the middle of the elevator. And it would go up, and like 2 to 3 minutes later, can somebody please find out what is this thing about a cup in elevator 2? And of course, this thing is continuing, the reaction is continuing for like 10 minutes. It's overflowing the edges of this cup. And it's, like I said, it's like Hydra. One piece falls off it, and another bubble up and over, and it was gross. And eventually, Kage got on the radio and said, if anybody finds out what's going on with this cup, bring them to me. Except when he saw it, because he went up to investigate it, what was on there, Raspar had taken the cup off and put a Post-it note in the middle of the elevator that said, place cup here. And Kage did not appreciate that little joke. Yes.
I know that you guys said you do PR, and people get very ballsy on the internet, so what
We get what?
Ballsy on the internet? So
We do or other people?
Other people do. So what's like the worst or the funniest interaction you've had regarding PR?
Okay, so I do more press statement type PR, and I help draft responses to things, but I don't actually do posts. So sometimes I don't really like draft the funniest things. I think the funniest one I know of, was when I was helping Texas Furry Fiesta one year, and we had a report of a news camera that I knew was going to be there, and they were like, there's a news camera in the lobby, and the people were like texting me and trying to message me and saying there's somebody here, and I was like, yeah, they're supposed to be there, it's NBC, we're going to do this interview. And somebody tweeted to the convention, hey, there's a news crew in the lobby, you guys need to do something about it. And the social media crew said, we have done something about it, they're at the bar with us. I think that was one of the funniest ones. Danny, do you know of anything that you had to do in Brazil with social media? I don't want to.
We had that famous story. It was not actually us, but the room party that the dildo company made at our convention, and the hotel manager, actually, the guy from the dildo company went to Twitter and said there is free booze and free food at the room party to everybody. So 300 people in front of the room door. The hotel manager discovered about it, and he decided to not call the security, but go there by himself and stop the line in front of the dildo company room party and ask everybody to go down. But he went there is yelling, there will be no BFF here next year. Everybody leaves. If you are not a hotel guest, leave the property or I will call the police. And this is a meme in Brazil now, Brazilian furry fellow now. But next day, at Twitter, some guy posted, I know why the hotel manager went to that line and asked everybody to leave the hallway. It was because he wanted to be the first to buy the tool. And 10 minutes later, he was at our call-off saying there will be no BFF here next year. And we had to spend 2 hours convincing him to have BFF there next year because of closing ceremony video. And introducing the theme for next year was showing the fucking hotel, an animation made by Cartoon Network Brazil. So we had to have the hotel, the convention at that hotel again. But we didn't say nothing at the social media because it would only make things worse.
So I've already chased about 10 people out of this room. So let's see how many more people we can chase out. I'm going to start with you, and then we're going to come over here.
Speaking of media, what do you have any stories about your interactions with news reporters? And
How far you want me to go?
What's the craziest one?
Down the rabbit hole. Okay. Do you want to hear the Shock Jock radio story?
Yeah. Oh God.
Okay, we'll do that. So the Shock Jock radio story is I just moved from being events director to director of public relations. And I had the new events director with me, and he was kind of like following me to see if he needed to step in because he felt, well, if you move from events to PR, I should be able to cover PR, so I want to shadow you for this. How many of you know what radio stations look like now? Not in the past, what they look like today. Most of them are not in individual buildings anymore. They are in a single building as part of like the iHeart network. So you go into a hallway and here is 100.7, and then right next to it is 89.9, and then right next to it is 101.1, and so forth. So all of these stations are actually right next to each other, side by side, so that they can be controlled by the same company. So I was doing radio interviews. I had 5 radio spots to do in one morning. So I was bopping from, it sounds like it's a big deal. I was bopping just next door to next door, except for the last one. The last one was in a totally different building in another small town just outside of Pittsburgh. And this was a relatively new DJ. He was only there for a couple of months, I think, if not even a month. And he wasn't familiar with the relationship that Pittsburgh has with furries. So he opens up his spiel for his show, and he says, "We want to welcome our friends from Anthrocon for joining us here today. How are you, sir?" And I'm like, "Hi, I'm John. Yes, it's good to be here." Ash says, "Yeah, I'm Ash. Great to be here." He goes, "So, tell me about all the freaky stuff that's going to happen this weekend." And I was like, "Okay, well, first of all, I don't think it's that freaky, but we're going to raise money for charity. It's the name of our charity, and we're going to have a lot of panels. And what kind of freaky stuff's going to go on in your panels?" I was like, "We're going to talk about how to draw cartoon artwork, and we're going to talk about how to build costume, and we're going to have a music show and some dances." "Oh, come on, there's a lot more going on than that. You can tell us." I'm like, "Well, all right, here's our schedule. It's right online. You're more than welcome to check it all out." He's like, "Oh, come on. We know there's a lot more freaky stuff going on there." He loved that word. Freaky stuff going on at VacCon. And I'm like, honestly, whatever happens in hotels is outside con space, and I don't necessarily want to know what people are doing in their rooms. If they're sitting there praying on a Bible, I really don't care. And he's like, "Oh, come on, you can tell us. We're only sharing it with the whole city today." And I was like, "Well, you guys have," I'd had enough. And I was like, "Well, you guys have been to conventions, haven't you? Radio conventions." "Oh, yeah, I've been to a few." "And you know what kinds of things go on, the parties that go on, right?" "Oh, you know it." And I was like, "You guys kind of look like ladies' men, right? The ladies like you." Like, "Yeah, John, don't you think it's like that?" "Oh, yeah, we're really popular with ladies." I was like, "Okay, so you know all the crazy stuff that goes on at room parties at conventions." "Aha, we knew it." My next statement was, "And do you tell your wives what you do at these conventions?" The next words out of his mouth were, "Well, we'd like to thank our friends from Anthrocon for stopping by." And then after they cut to a commercial, he turned to me and he said, please don't ever try to make me look like a jerk on my own show again. Don't try to make a fool out of me. And I turned to him and I said, okay, first of all, you did it to yourself. But two, before you try to get the best of someone on your show and make me look stupid, you might want to do a little research and find out if the person you're interviewing has done live 4 hours of stand-up comedy every week for 15 years. Not only can I handle myself, I can make you eat your lunch. And be thankful that one of my other friends from that show isn't here, because he's way worse than I am and he's not as nice. And he was like, well, okay then. And he got up and he walked out of the room. 3 weeks later, he was transferred to Des Moines. Not kidding. He was transferred to a very small radio market in Iowa. Apparently because of that show and the audience reaction, because he didn't realize that furries drop millions of dollars into the Pittsburgh economy every year. And Pittsburgh didn't like it. Yes. The city of Pittsburgh has a unique relationship with furries. As of last year, and Danny was there at this year, Visit Pittsburgh announced that Anthrocon, the furry community, is responsible for an annual contribution of $13.4 million in one weekend into the Pittsburgh economy. It is the most valuable out-of-town convention that comes into Pittsburgh on an annual basis. It contributed more to the Pittsburgh economy than the G7 conference when world leaders were there, because they never leave their hotel. But we do. We spend an awful lot of money. The way that we describe whenever a new restaurant comes into the area and they experience Anthrocon for the first time, we tell them, everyone, you need to prepare for something unusual. When furries come into town, we're going to descend upon your city like a plague of locusts. We are going to consume every bit of food that you can put out there.
And alcohol.
And I was going to say, if there is alcohol, you're going to need a sponge to soak up what's left. And yeah. Oh, it doesn't matter. There's no alcohol within 3 blocks of the convention center after Anthrocon is finished. We are going to be celebrating Anthrocon's 20th anniversary in the city of Pittsburgh. Right now, we are reaching out to the following entities to help us celebrate. We're waiting for responses. The Pittsburgh City Council, the Mayor of Pittsburgh, the Allegheny County Executive, the Governor, Governor Shapiro, CAPA, which is the School for Creative and Performing Arts, the August Wilson African American Cultural Center, 3 small organizations called the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, the National Aviary, and a whole host of restaurants that are associated with a group called the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership in association with Visit Pittsburgh. Furries in that city are not only a big deal, they are used as part of the city's marketing campaign to attract new business, saying, look what happens when you partner with significant events. That is the only city I know of in North America that respects furries enough to recognize them as a major economic driver for a major American city. So hats off to Pittsburgh. They know what we're like, and they like us that way. Because we got a lot of money.
Still have the furry stuff out there, like.
How many people have been to Anthrocon and know about Pizza Parma? Okay, Pizza Parma is a pizza shop that was formerly owned by Fernando Di Carvalho. He's the guy who defended furries and actually took a brick to the head.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he kicked somebody out that was harassing a bunch of furries in his restaurant. The guy, yeah, he's Brazilian. The guy that he kicked out threw a brick through his plate window and hit him in the head and fractured his skull.
Oh my God.
He survived. He was okay. But furries and him and that restaurant have a love-love relationship. What furries do, how many people know about the sticker thing that we do? And we sticker everything, and we're asked not to, but we do it anyway. But before we came up with sticker walls, this restaurant loves furries so much, they sent out a message and said, hey, if you have stickers we want to redecorate our restaurant. Please come and put them on our bathroom doors and inside the bathrooms. And they leave them up year-round. There is no more room in their bathrooms or their bathroom doors. So now they create 4-foot-tall pizza boxes, and this year they had a small car, and it was the sticker car. And they were like, please put your furry stickers here. And on Sunday, they started driving the car around downtown, advertising people's stickers. And I found it hilarious that the Fun Day Paw Pet Show's little raccoon sticker was right under the tailpipe. Because Yappy wanted it there. But yeah, that city has a great relationship with furry. I think it would be great if other cities could have that. It's just really hard to develop that. It's the right city in the right place at the right time. I'm not trying to monopolize things.
Yeah, you didn't find.
Yes.
Didn't we actually save his restaurant once?
We did. We did. And that's the reason why everybody knows it. Fernando's Pizzeria almost went out of business. When the economy downturned a number of years ago, Fernando was unable to pay his employees. He almost lost the shop. For those that don't know, Fernando's a missionary. And one of the things that he did is he would hire people that were just coming out of prison and having a tough time getting a job. He gave them their first chance out of jail to clean up their lives and move forward. So he was really a good guy. He was trying to help people start working again. Problem was, downtown Pittsburgh doesn't get a lot of business most of the year outside of business hours. And in the summertime, it's very dead. So he was very much at risk of losing his business. What we ended up doing, Kage and Anthropon started up a drive to raise money to save the restaurant because of what he did with brick. We were able to raise enough money to pay off all of the money he owed on rent and pay all of his employees their back pay, plus have enough money for about 2 months operating expenses that would get him Anthropon. We went into Pittsburgh, and he didn't know we were going to do this. We presented him with a check that saved his restaurant, and the employees were able to get their pay and pay their rent and their utilities and kind of keep on with their lives for a while. He couldn't continue to fund it the way it was being done, so he sold it to Pizza Parma, and that's why the restaurant still exists. But yes, furries saved that business, specifically because of the way they treated us. That's not a horror story or a war story, that's a good story.
Didn't we auction off that brick that you got hit with?
We never auctioned off that brick, but we did auction off a brick from the Adams Mark after Target bought it and raised it. We had to move the hotel. We had to move the convention mid-year because they were like, oh, you guys need a hotel? Oh, we have a lovely property in Dallas. You can do it. And we're like, this is a Pennsylvania event. We can't go to Dallas. And we're like, too bad. That's the offer that we have because that's all our contract says we have to do. Goodbye. And so they tore the hotel down, and somebody went and saved a few bricks, and we auctioned one of the bricks off, and raised $1,000 in charity auction for a brick. Yes.
This year, what was the longest line you had to deal with?
The longest line I had to deal with?
Yeah, other than this year, because this year's line was long. Yes.
Okay, so longest line I ever had to deal with, everybody should answer this. Everybody's longest line. I think the longest line that I've ever been in at a furry convention was this year's Furry Weekend Atlanta going into the night market. I think that's one of the longest lines because it went from the night market area, it wrapped up through the lobby, came around the elevator area, down in front of the main ballroom, took a right out the door, and then it went down the hallway towards the Hilton. And they were because it was raining outside, the original entrance was not able to be used, so everybody had to kind of funnel through this alternate thing, and it felt really, 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 really long. I think that was probably the longest line I've been at in a convention. And again, I'm not trying to throw shade at any one time. I just think that was the longest one I've ever been in. It moved okay. It was just long.
Just like this year's.
This year? Yeah, this year's. This is going to be one for the record books. Sorry for the long line at Reg.
A little preface to that. After this event ends here, I have to go off property to our storage unit
I have to get more badges for everybody. We don't have enough to refill our machines tonight. That's how many of you are here. I love you, but I hate you. I don't want to drive to Longwood. That's a 30-minute drive.
As a preview, and just
I already have that covered.
yeah, as a preview, we generally don't talk about registration numbers this early in the con. One thing I can tell you is the number of people that picked up badges as of today pretty close to eclipsed the entire attendance last year. And this is day one. The next big day is tomorrow. That's when most of the day passes are going to sell. And
So KP and Funky, they need to do a new graphics for your closing.
yes, that's what you probably want to have it this year.
That one?
Well, let's. I hate you.
Don't say anything, just say yes or no to me. That one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fucking.
If you can go, I'm gonna stand at the back of the room and ask for Daniel. He's the one that runs the 80.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is a event that normally this panel is done with our friend Alkali. And anyone who's been here before knows we normally have a top hat here.
Paperwork.
Yeah.
Alkali couldn't make it tonight. We don't have top hat to collect donations. We do have a charity for the convention, as you guys know. If you were planning on bringing donations for stories,
no worries.
what
I
we
say
do,
you can't get a
you
hold
ask
of
a
him.
question,
His
want a
number's
story,
on the
drop a couple
permit
bucks
as well.
in. Please
But
take
he's
that
my
to
agent.
the...
Use your hat.
Who's my hat?
Yes.
Yeah, use your hat.
You use your hat. Here we go.
Yeah.
You can also use this hat. This is a friend of mine's hat, but you can use it as well.
He would be able to give you more details, yes.
So he was not able to make it for the convention, but we do have a very great charity. This is one of the events that generally does fundraise for it. So
And if you want to make a donation in the name of Alkali, because he's actually possibly getting a new job, and he has to be available for an interview like immediately when he gets the call. So it could happen this weekend, and it's going to mean a lot to him. We did not want him to risk that, so we made sure he stayed home so that he could be on call. He's really bummed. If you want to make a donation and say, hey, Alkali, this is for you, as opposed to just paying for a story, please feel free to do so for that as well.
Please.
I do believe that at their table they have QR codes for digital donations as
They
well.
do. They do.
That's available.
Yes, back there.
Do you have anything to file under the copyright, or sorry, the contract law is useless, like banner, like stories that fall under, like you have a contract with someone, something happens, it all completely falls apart. Because someone finds like an easy way to squeeze out of the contract, or like just barely fulfill the contractual obligation.
No, not at this time. No. But that's the Disney story is not getting out of the contract because we hadn't signed it yet.
No, but that was hilarious.
What is the Disney story? Does anybody want to put $20 in the hat and I will tell you the Disney story? You got 11, throw it in the hat. All right, here's the Disney story. And if you find the story entertaining, I'm going to ask everybody try to drop $1 or something.
I dropped 3.
The Disney story is Megaplex was looking for wasn't really looking for a new hotel, but we're always shopping. And I got a communication from, it was either the Swan or the Dolphin. For those of you that know Disney, those are the two resorts that are right attached to Epcot Resort. They had just, I believe it was the Dolphin. Actually, the Dolphin. They had just finished remodeling and renovating the lobby and function space, the convention space for that hotel. And I got a postcard that said, "Hi, Megaplex." It's a foreign thing. "Hi, Megaplex. We're interested in hosting your event. Here are some services that we can provide to make your event magical and memorable. Competitive hotel rates." Sounds good.
Can't argue that.
Free theme park tickets for your attendees. Or discounted tickets for your attendees. To Epcot. To any Disney theme park.
Disney property.
Okay, that sounds kind of interesting. Complimentary alcohol reception.
You've won me over at that point.
I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. There were a couple of others. The very last one was complimentary character appearances. Now, how many people know about Disney and character appearances and fursuits and what we're supposed to do and not supposed to do? That one kind of got my eye. So went through all the things and I said, okay, these people did not do any research. So I called them up and I said, hi, my name is John and I am with Megaplex. It's a local convention and we received a postcard that said you'd like to host our event. Could I talk to someone about that? Certainly, let me get you in contact with sales. Talk with this wonderful lady. And she's like, yes, I have your profile right here. Oh, you have our profile. That's good. I'd like to go over some of the things that you said you can offer to us. And I want to confirm that this is okay. Certainly, competitive roommates. Yes, we can offer you very good roommates if you're willing to book 500 to 1,000 hotel nights. That's actually pretty standard with a lot of conventions. It would have been pushing us a little bit, but we could have done it. It's like, okay, that's good. Free parking on property. I was like, yes, we can comp all of your parking. It's like, that's good, especially with what's going on here. That's good. Free outgo and discounted Disney tickets. Yes, we can get you discounted Disney tickets with comp tickets every certain number. It's like, okay, use that for our guests. Complimentary alcohol reception. Do you know how many of our attendees are of college age and like to drink? Well, we kind of have that covered. You see, the free alcohol will be beer and wine, and it won't be top shelf. And I'm like, okay, so basically a keg party. Okay, that's fine. If you're okay with that. And they're like, oh yeah, we've done this for many organizations. Okay, there's one more thing that you have on here. Complimentary character appearances. Yes. I was like, do you really know who we are? And she said, no. And I said, we are complimentary character appearances. And she said, what do you mean? I was like, 25% of our attendees have their own mascot-style character suits, and they're going to want to take pictures with your theme park characters. And she was like, oh. And I was like, now I have a postcard that says you offered this. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, would you like to rescind the offer? And she was like, yes, please. I was like, I thought so. We're not going to hold you to something like that. It's just, I found it interesting and I wanted to see if you were really willing to let some of our characters take pictures with Mickey Mouse. And she was like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, man, I would love to see some of the really racy characters. Could you imagine Fiona taking a picture with Mickey Mouse?
On another unrelated part, there are a few pictures of suitors in the Magic Kingdom.
I have one. How did I do it? Okay, you want the secret?
Yes.
It's going to cost someone $20. Anybody? Yeah, I know you already put your money in. You got it? Okay, someone's putting in a donation. I'm sorry, I'm shilling. I'm trying to help the charity. The way that we did this was a friend of mine who is here, who is a Disney cast member, kind of was looking at the Magic Kingdom. You cannot do this anymore. They closed this loophole. So that's why I'm able to tell this story. It's not gonna be able to happen. How many have been to the Magic Kingdom? Okay. When you go through the Magic Kingdom gate, you go through the ticket stand. Have you ever noticed that off to the side and to the right of the entrances, there's a place where people park strollers and there are lockers? Yes. Okay. What we did was we put our fursuit heads in backpacks and stored them in the lockers. Now, you already got your ticket when you're in there, so you can go back and forth to the locker anytime you want. We put our fursuit heads in there and we wore our tiger bodysuits. And then we got these little hats that looked like Tigger. and we cosplayed, it's called Bounding at Disney, as Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. But you could see our faces. And so we walked around a little bit, and people were like, a couple of people knew we were furries. They were like, oh my God, furries are here. And the others are like, oh, those are amazing Tigger suits. And we're like, thank you, thank you. And then my friend was like, would you like to go get a slushie or a drink? And I was like, I would love to go get a drink. We have to go back to the front of the park. So people can hear us saying that. We gotta go back to the front of the park. So we gotta go back to the front of the park, and we grab our backpacks out of the lockers that have our fursuit heads in them. And we're still having the heads on, the little hats. And we walked all the way back to Space Mountain. For those that have not been there, you go toward the castle from the front gate, you turn to the right to Tomorrowland, you go almost all the way to the end of Tomorrowland, and then you take a quick left, and there is Space Mountain, the ride. That is one of the rides where you can have a photo taken during the ride to get your facial reaction. As we're going through the queue, just before we get to the ride, the hat came off and the fursuit head came out of the backpack because we could not sit in the ride with the backpack on. So we put the head on real quick, pulled the lap bar down so it doesn't go over our heads, and we're sitting there getting ready to launch. The guy that comes to check our seats is getting ready to pull on the bar, and he's like, can we allow this? And the guy behind him is like, we got another car to launch, just go.
Just so you're aware, with Space Mountain, they have to launch every 30 to 45 seconds. If they do not, the ride halts.
It stops. So we are now riding Space Mountain with two tigers in the front and a Normie behind us. And the camera went off. And there's a picture of tiger number 1 going, tiger number 2 going, and the Normie in the back going. And actually, I do have that photo on my phone.
I have that. Catch the next one. I got a property, guys. Okay. Let's see. Gallery and Tiger. No, this is my tiger. Tell me the tiger. Here it is, right here.
With the lady, and if you can see, I'm gonna open my phone up because it expands.
Yes.
Do you need a battery pack?
There is tiger number 1. It says Disney Photo Pass. Disney, tiger number 1, tiger number 2, and the very disapproving stare of a Normie. Oh. Here's tiger number 1. Here's tiger number 2. And here's a Normie. The reason you cannot do this anymore is as we got off the ride, we decided we were going to walk all the way through the Magic Kingdom in fursuit to leave the park.
Wow.
Got some great photos in front of the Walt Disney statue and the castle. And as soon as we started going down Main Street to exit, here come about 7 Disney managers following us the whole way. And people are trying to stop us. Can we take a picture with Tigger? And we're like, we gotta go. Because we didn't want to get like ejected. We wanted to leave of our own volition. So we walked out through the gate. And as soon as we walk out through the gate, we're like, we're never gonna be able to do this again. 2 weeks later, you could not cover any part of your head other than a hat. No facial covering at all was allowed at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween.
Unless you're a child.
Unless you're a child. That's how we did it. We went to the Halloween event, we carried our heads in a backpack, wore the rest of the suit, and really quickly put our heads on when we got to Space Mountain while the ride was getting ready to launch.
I see other people do it, the Dream Lives.
Yeah, other people try it. It is very uncommon now because they just don't like to have you have backpacks and other things on the ride anymore.
Well, we can't do that anymore.
Yeah, there are about 5 photos that I know of people that have managed to pull this off. Disney is very, very stringent about their requirements now, especially after other events and things that have happened in the parks. But that's how I got it, and I feel real good. I earned my stripes that day.
Another way to do it is have somebody that's a current cast member at that time hide them in his personal locker backstage.
That's a totally different story, and I don't want to risk anybody's job.
No.
All right, any other questions? Okay, wait, wow, there's a lot of hands up now. No, I do not have other fursuit pictures in Disney World.
Just so you're all aware, we are 15 minutes beyond our scheduled close time, but I don't see anything else being scheduled in this room.
Okay,
So
nothing
if
else
you
in
want to
here.
keep rolling, you guys can keep rolling. I have to get off stage.
Yes.
Going back to the cup story real quick.
The-
Did
the
anybody
cup?
drink it?
Did anybody drink it? If they did, they're 6 feet under. No, I am not aware of anybody drinking it. Rastar actually picked that up off the elevator, and we tried to throw it into the sink, and it wouldn't leave the cup. We actually had to put water in it and dump it in the toilet. Did we take a sip? No, because I'm still here. Yes.
So what's the worst, or most interesting thing you've ever seen someone do while they're in the registration line?
The most interesting, okay, I can tell you the funniest story I remember from a registration line. It was Further Confusion 2000, if y'all want to hear that one.
Yeah.
Somebody please deposit $10 in a hat somewhere, and I'll be really happy about it. When we were there, it was a new hotel venue for Further Confusion that year, and they had been working really, really hard to get everything set up properly. When we got to the hotel, the registration line for that time was very long. It was about 75 people. That was long back then. Thank you very much for the donation, by the way. So as we were standing in line, and the movement was very slow because, again, it was much smaller cons, a lot more like personal technology, custom written software, things just weren't working as efficiently as they could. This couple that was not with Further Confusion walked in and saw all these people in costumes and comic book t-shirts and weird hats and all kinds of other stuff. Yeah, we like silly hats, just like the old meme. And the woman walked past 4 fursuiters and a bunch of other people, and then she stopped where me and 5 of my friends were, so we're all in a group, and she just looked at us and said, "Guys, what is all of this?" And me, with my just being blunt, said, "It's a line. A really freaking long line." And her husband, just like everybody started giggling, her husband looked at her and said, "You had to ask." And she said, "Well, I did." And I said, "And I had to answer." But yeah, that's one of the funniest things that ever happened in a line was somebody asked me what it was, and I just said, "It's a line. It's a really freaking long line." Yes?
What's the funniest or most ridiculous game of rumor mill telephone that you guys encountered?
Rumor mill telephone? So I guess, I don't know if it's really so much con related, but the story about the litter boxes is probably the most notorious. So how many of you would like to hear the honest to God, real, genuine story of how that whole, excuse my language, bullshit statement and bullshit story got started?
Is $10 enough, or how much you want?
Anything you want to put in, I just for charity. All right, so what happened? This was an old Anthrocon story. There was 4 people, and I'm sorry.
No, we're getting a footage of you.
Okay. There was a room that had, surprisingly enough, 4 people in the room. Big surprise at a furrycon. But 2 of the people in the room, they were all friends, 2 of the people had dog personas and 2 of the people had cat personas. And when, at some point during the convention, for whatever reason, the dog persona guys decided we're going to play a joke on the people that had cat personas. So they went and they got a litter box and some cat litter, and they put it under the sink. Now, this particular hotel room was one of the hotels where when you open the door, there's a closet to the left. You take a walk through, there's like a little alcove with a sink. Bathroom has its own door, but if you walk all the way through, then there's the 2 beds and a TV like on the side of the wall. Well, under the sink, it was open. It wasn't covered. So there was not really a storage space, but there is a space under there. They put this litter box right there so that when you open the door and walk in, the first thing you see is a sink with a litter box under it. So the cat persona friends, they were going to park, they parked outside somewhere and they were going to do something. But the cat personas came back and they saw the litter box and were like, what the hell is going on with this? I said, okay, they think this is funny, we're going to do one better. One of them went downstairs and they went to a vending machine and they bought a candy bar. The candy bar was a Baby Ruth. How many people have ever seen the movie Caddyshack? Okay, you know where this is going. They got back to the room, they opened the thing, they put the wrapper in the trash can, and they took the Baby Ruth and they put it smack dab in the middle of the litter box. What is that gonna look like? You got it. So they were like, hey, let's find out. We're gonna wait and see what they have to say. So they leave the room. The next person to walk in the room was not one of their roommates, but was a housekeeper. The housekeeper saw this and probably freaked out and immediately left the room and called the hotel manager. Hotel manager comes in and he is not pleased because he's not going to investigate. He's just seeing what he sees. They wait, and when the people in the room come back, they are confronted by the hotel manager, and they explain, look, this was a joke. They have characters that are cats. We wanted to make fun of them, so they did this, and then they put a candy bar in here. Look, here's the wrapper. They went and grabbed it. They opened it, and they said, look, this is a Baby Ruth. This is a candy bar. This is not real. Hotel manager still was not pleased, but he was like, okay, this wasn't a real thing. That story about the candy bar started circulating around the convention that year. Over time, somehow that leaked outside of the furry fandom into the comic book or sci-fi fandom, and that leaked out into the internet ether. And now Fox News seems to think that anybody who's a furry has litter boxes in their school, and they're not only using it, but they're doing other weird things, and they meow and they scratch people and everything. It's a candy bar. It was a candy bar in a litter box as a joke. That is the honest to God's truth of how that rumor started, because I was there that year and I know what happened. The problem is, you start trying to explain that and people don't get it because they're not within the fandom, they don't know our weird, whacked out sense of humor. So they keep expanding on it and they blow it out of proportion. But that is where that rumor came from. So you now know something that a lot of people in the fandom don't know. Yes?
This is a question for both of you, because you both had the insane idea to like work with like getting furry cons going. I just have to ask, what possessed you to do it in the first place and then keep doing it after you saw like how much work it is?
I'm stupid.
We are.
Okay, so
I'm stupid in Portuguese.
The honest truth is the first convention that we created was done as a replacement convention because we didn't want a bunch of friends to be let down. We didn't want them to fly in town, go to a hotel with no event when they were expecting an event, and we didn't want them to think badly about that, and we didn't want them to waste money. Why did we continue doing it? It's not, sometimes it can be fun, and we can get great memories. There is a sense of satisfaction for helping the community have a place to do something fun and interesting. I think for me, the biggest reason why I continue to do it is I always see an opportunity for this fandom to express itself in new ways. And I think it's important that everybody here understands, especially at Megaplex. I can't speak for any other convention. I think it's important for everybody to understand we create what I would consider to be a safe space. And I'm using those words very specifically. This is a safe space for you, for each and every person in this room. And this is not bullshit. There are a lot of places where people feel they can't be themselves, they feel persecuted, they feel like if they do tell people how they really feel, or if they're in their home community and they talk about what's really in their heart, they're going to either be persecuted, or they're going to be ridiculed, or they're going to feel like they're going to be made fun of or ostracized. I think it's important, personally, for everybody to understand you need to have a place where you can be yourself. And you can express yourself and investigate and explore other things that are new to you. Whether it's meeting Charlie Adler as a voice artist, and maybe you're going to be inspired to do voice acting yourself. Maybe it's an aspect of your own personality or an interest, whether it's kink related or whether it's art related, or maybe you just need to know you're not alone. That, I think, is one of the most important things a furry convention of any type can provide to anyone around here. And that's one of the primary reasons why I've done this for 23 years plus. That's a me answer. Danny, if you want to add anything.
We actually started Brazil Fur Fest because in Brazil at that time, 2015, 2014, we had only a CampCon in Brazil at that time, and we watched all the videos from Anticon, and me and my friends, especially Megaplex, both conventions actually, and we at that time were thinking, oh my God, we so wanted to go to these conventions, but at that time we didn't have money. So if you cannot go to the United States, let's start one here. And without an experience, by watching especially Megaplex videos and some Anticon videos, we started Brazil Fur Fest. But the main point is what KP said. After some years doing the convention, what makes us continuing to hold the convention is similar to what KP said, but for us, when I realized that we were doing a good thing was one of our attendees come to us and said, this is the only weekend in the year I feel alive. Because the rest of the year, I cannot be alive the way I want. So it's not only a safe space. Safe space can be even a permit. A weekend, is like, because if you go to a meeting with furries at the bowling, we started a bowling event in Brazil. It's just one afternoon and you go home. When you go to a con, it's 3 or 4 days. Here is 4 days, in Brazil it's 3 days. You sleep as a furry, you wake up as a furry, you have breakfast as a furry, you spend the day as a furry, and again you sleep as a furry. You have the full experience as a furry for 3 days. This is priceless, so that's why we continue, because I have this feeling, that it has this feeling, that's all we share.
So I know we're quite a bit over time. Are there any other really burning questions? Huh? Yes.
I got one. Put some money in there already, but I want to know if you have any stories from both of you. If you can't beat it, I have one as an example that you'll be able to tell.
Yeah.
Have you dealt with any obsessions at a convention bigger than the Book of Kage?
What?
Obsessions bigger than
You need to tell the Book of Kage story. Many don't know.
Sure thing.
Yeah, I don't really know the full story of the Book of Kage, but obsessions. I honestly can't think of one right off the top of my head. There are a lot of individuals that I would consider slightly, maybe a little obsessive compulsive in the family.
I
Just a
have
little.
one personal one.
Go ahead.
And it was at Megaplex, not in Brazil. Some of you know I have a persona. It's Sally. It's a big bunny with big boots, big boobs. And at Megaplex, one attendee was really obsessed about her. And he was, during the pandemic, he sent me a message, oh, you are the best persona. I love you so much. And he commented in every single post of my Instagram and said, oh, you should do that because, you know, Hakuna Matata. And he became Hakuna Matata for me. That's how I'll call him. So Hakuna Matata came to Megaplex 2022, actually. It was at Caribbean Royale, and he was stalking me all the convention, and we had to call Sergeant Stevens, and Sergeant Stevens gave him a notice to stop pursuing me. He was following me to my room, and that's serious. So next day during the first parade, he was yelling at the hallway, oh, your persona is so beautiful. And Ruby was with me, my vice chair, and I told her, see, Sergeant Stevens gave him a notice, he's not talking about Sally anymore. And we were really far from him. And then, your persona is so beautiful, but not as beautiful as Sally. Sally's the best persona. And it was 3 days like that, until he eventually is not allowed to come to the con anymore. But yes, it was tough. He even messaged me again on Instagram, and he doesn't know who's behind the persona up until today. He thinks he's the big butt girl. That's funny.
The only other thing that I can think of was at Megaplex 11. There's an individual who, so this wasn't so much an obsession with a person as with an idea. For whatever reason, this person decided that he wanted to be in con space to start screaming Bible verses incorrectly. So he was reading Bible verses and constantly trying to talk over everybody in the lobby area, but he wasn't really reading Bible verses because he kept inserting words like banana in them. But as we tried to talk over him to ignore him, he just kept getting louder and louder and louder until we had to have the police come and actually take him away on a stretcher. Yeah, we did. He had to be taken away on a stretcher, and he was actually Baker acted. Those of you who know what Baker acting in Florida is, it's someone who is put under medical observation without their consent to make sure they're not going to hurt themselves. That would be the most obsessive thing that I can recall. I've never had anybody follow me like Kage did, try to follow me into their, have them follow me into my hotel room or into a bathroom. Thankfully, or anything like that. I've had people that really liked some of my fursuits, but nobody has been I've been lucky, nobody's been super obsessive. Because I kind of know how to handle myself. I know how to duck people if I need to.
Goose.
I'm foreigner here.
Yes.
No, you said duck, so I had to say goose.
Oh, I'm not going to goose somebody though. not if they're obsessing over something. I'll duck them. I won't goose them. That's for my boyfriend. Anybody else? Okay. Ooh. Yeah. Over here.
With so many other conventions that are going like during the hotel time while Megaplex coming in, they might be going out or coming in. I would have to ask, what's the most interesting scenario that you've had like with this group of normies or outsiders pretty much seeing this entire show coming in?
Weddings. Anytime there's a wedding party and they're drunk and they see fursuits walking around before the convention, they want to hang out with us. And when, especially the bridal party wants to hang out with fursuits, I don't know what it is, but they become sluts. I personally have been in my tiger fursuit and had someone from a bridal party come up and start trying to hump my tiger suit. A female do that, and I'm like, that's not, no, wait, no, that's not supposed to happen. And then she would say, oh my God, you're so hot. Why can't my husband look like you? And true answer, one of the people that, like the woman that asked me that, she's like, why can't my husband look as cute as you? And I'm like, pay somebody $8,000. He can. They'll build him a suit just like it. He can look that cute. And she was like, is that how much they cost? I was like, this one, yeah. And she was just kind of muttering some stuff, but I think the general response is, man, you're worth more than he is. So, yeah.
And this was the bride?
This was someone in the bridal party. It wasn't the bride. But yeah, she nasty woman. Anybody else? Because a lot of people seem to want to head out, so we'll do a couple more and that's it. Yes.
Dealer's choice. Are there any stories that you are itching to tell but haven't yet?
Any stories I'm itching to tell but haven't yet?
Alkali in Rio was funny.
Well, you tell that one.
You went twice now.
Itching to tell. I'm just trying to think. There are a few that are. There's some that I really want to tell, but I can't because it happened in the last 2 years. And those people might still be around listening somewhere. What I'm itching to tell. Not really. There's some that I would like to tell. Give me a topic so that it'll jog my memory. A topic, any topic.
Fire Kage. Something you regret on the time you went with Uncle Kage and you regretted going with him.
Oh boy.
That I regretted going with Uncle Kage?
Yeah, like you're like, I shouldn't have went with him today.
I've never regretted going somewhere with Uncle Kage because every time he goes somewhere and something goes wrong, it happens to him. Okay, I will tell you the pre-convention story. Yeah, this is before I started going to conventions. I actually went to the Doodah Parade in Ocean City, New Jersey. For those of you that know Rabbit T. Rabbit, he passed away a number of years ago. He invited me to go to this parade that he went to every year. The Doodah Parade is basically a parade for people who want to be in a parade but can't get into one. So they allow you to kind of create your own. Went to Ocean City, and Ocean City is in New Jersey. It's very close to Philadelphia, and that's where I had to fly in for it. When I had to fly back, prefacing this, when we were at the parade, Ocean City has a boardwalk. There's a whole bunch of little shops and crazy things you can buy. One of the things they had was a sonic sword. What it was a cardboard tube with two springs in it, and when you waved it, it went. Just however you waved it, it made a different boing noise.
The sonic neutralizer?
The sonic neuterer, yes. So I thought it would be funny to write the word sonic neuterer under there instead of sonic sword, and I was aiming it at my friend's crotches going, and I would say, you've been neutered. I thought it was hilarious. My friends thought it was mildly amusing. So I decided I was having way too much fun with this tube, and I've never seen this before. I'm going to take this home with me on an airplane. Now this is pre-9/11, so this is like full on. People can go right up to the plane and watch them take off and all that jazz. I had the costume that I was wearing, which was a licensed Hanna-Barbera character. So I'm very particular about letting people see it, because I'm not really supposed to have it. I put this thing, and it's a tube,
about this long. The foot locker, the costume, is about this long, so it fits
just perfectly inside the box. It's a cardboard tube with two springs in a box that has metal edges around it. And then the character costume is all around it. It goes through the X-ray machine. And then, like, as I'm at the airport, as it goes through the X-ray machine, they're like, "Sir, we're going to have to inspect this box." And I was like, "Well, if you're going to inspect it, can you please do it behind a curtain? I don't want that in public view." We're going to need security. And they're like, "So why don't you want us to open this out in public?" I was like, "Well, there's something inside that I would rather children not see. We're going to need 2 more security." why would you not want kids to see it? And I'm like, there's a character costume of a copyrighted character in there. I don't want any kids to see it because the animation company that owns the rights to the character would not appreciate it. I said, so you have a costume character in there? I'm like, yeah, it's a character of a dog, and I don't want the kids to see it disrobed. Disrobed character? We're gonna need 2 more security agents. So 6 security guards come out, and they're saying, sir, we're gonna have to inspect the contents of this box. I'm like, can you please just do it behind the curtain? I'll explain. There's a copyrighted mascot character suit in there. I would prefer that it not be done in public because I don't want any kids to see a character like taken apart. We're trying to keep magic alive, quote unquote. So they agree to do that. They go to the back and they're taking it out. I was like, please, this again, 1998. I was like, please, this character costume costs about $4,000. By today's standards, this particular costume would probably cost about $16,000 to $18,000 to give you an idea of the inflationary rate on this. I still have the costume, by the way. They were like, okay. So they open the latches. It's like a Foot Locker. And they click the latch, open it up. I'm like, please be careful, especially with the headpiece. They take the bodysuit out. Has arms with hands attached. It's all brown fur. They take the head out. And I'm like, please be careful with that. Do not break it. So they very carefully take it out. They look inside. There's a helmet that you can wear inside it. Put it on the side. They take the feet out. As the guy takes the feet out, there he sees the tube. And this is the expression on his face. And he goes, sir, is this everything that's in the box? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. There might be some paperwork in there, but other than that, that's it. And he said, Jimmy, come here for a minute. So another security guard goes over. Jimmy grabs it. Is this what you were afraid of? And he holds up the thing that says Sonic Neuterer in front of him. And the other security guard goes, yep, that's it. And he looks at it and he waves it around a little bit and he's going, and he's like, sir, pack it up, you're free to go. And I'm like, thank you. So I put the thing back in and I put all the characters' pieces back in the box. And I'm like, okay, so I'm ready to go. And the person at the gate says, well, sir, I'm afraid your plane's already left. I missed my flight. And they said, we can book you on the next flight out to Texas. I was going to Houston, that's where I was at the time. And I said, okay, I just got to call the people. They said, we're very, very sorry for the delay. We're going to bump you up to first class. I've never flown first class before that. So I was like, okay, I'll try this. Finally get on the plane, and I am the biggest rube that has ever flown first class. They sit me in this big leather seat, and I'm like, ooh, this is kind of nice. And they're like, sir, would you like a glass of wine? And I'm like, I don't drink. I'm like, well, would you like something to drink? And I'm like, club soda? And they're like, yes, we can get you a club soda. So I get a glass of club soda or ginger ale, one of the two, I forget which one it was. And before we take off, they bring a basket with hot towels in it. And they're like, sir, would you like a hot towel? And I was like, what do I do with it? Like, well, you use it to refresh yourself. And I'm holding this hot towel, and I'm like, refresh myself? I'd rather have a cold, damp one. This one's kind of sticky. And they're like, sir, you put it on your face, it helps relax. And I'm like, that wasn't very relaxing. He said, sir, you wipe your face. And I'm like, okay, what do I do with it? She goes, give it to me. And I'm like, okay, so I give it to her. Everybody else files onto the plane. We get ready to take off. One of the airline attendants comes up to me, Mr. Cole, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, okay, we're just checking. There's another delay, and again, they said, getting ready to take off. Airline attendant comes back. Mr. Cole, how are you feeling? I'm like, fine. Are you okay? I'm like, yes. They're like, okay. And I noticed nobody else is getting this attention. And I'm like, is she hitting on me? And what's the deal? We take off. As soon as we take off and level off, airline attendant comes up. Mr. Cole, how do you feel today? Are you all right? Is there anything I can get you? And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, Big Mac, I'm hungry. I was like, no, I'm fine. Okay, if you need anything, just let me know. I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is the creepiest airline I've ever flown. I don't think I like first class. 3 more times they come and they check on me, and I'm like, I'm fine. I'm trying to take a nap. I'm tired. We land in Houston. As soon as we touch down and they can walk around, airline attendant, Mr. Cole, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm still okay. Everything's fine. She goes, do you need some help getting off the plane? I'm like, no. Do you need some help? And she's like, no, we just want to make sure you're okay. And I'm like, I'm fine. So I get my carry-on bag and I leave. I go to collect my luggage. I go to collect my luggage. A person from the airline. Are you Mr. Cole? Yes. We just want to find out if you're okay. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what the hell is wrong with first class people? I said, yes, I'm fine. I get my luggage, I get into the taxi, I'm getting ready to head home. As I'm heading home, my friend Tiger Cowboy, who is a travel agent, who set up my flight, calls me. And I'm like, hi, TC. And he's like, hi, I just wanted to check to see if you're okay. And I was like, yes. In fact, I've been asked if I'm okay no less than 10 times. And he's like, good. I coded you as a frightened flyer. And I'm like, how long does that stay on record? And he goes, as long as I wanted to. So I never wanted to fly first class again for a while. He took the code off, but yeah, I thought it was really creepy that I was constantly being asked if I'm okay by these really freaky airline attendants that weren't that attractive. So anyway, that's one of the weird stories. I like to tell that story. There are other more positive stories that don't have anything to do with the fandom. We don't have time for those right now. It is getting close to time for another event that I'm supposed to be at. Is there anything else we want to cover? Anybody want to throw money at the charity? Anybody?
Are you okay?
Am I okay?
Cost $5 to ask that.
Are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. I'll end this panel with this. For all the funny things that we talk about and all the humor and things that we like to share, there's one thing I would like for you to leave this room thinking about. You can pour money in my hat anytime you want. Every single person in this room has one weekend to spend here. And once this weekend is gone, it is gone forever. You have a lot of opportunities to do things that you may have never done before, experience to have, friendship to share, new friends to make. Because of things that have happened in my life, just within the last few weeks, life is a fleeting thing. I don't know if any of you know, I just got word today. A friend of mine named Brad Hound, who lives in the Northeast, passed away from a heart attack today. A very close friend of mine from the Paw Patch Show suffered a stroke earlier this month, does not remember who I am anymore. There are so many things that each and every one of you can do, and so many experiences you can have. Please, do not waste a single moment. Life is precious, and it's finite. You have an infinite number of choices that you can make, but only a finite amount of time to make them. Please, enjoy yourself while you're here, have the time of your life, but make sure you make the most of every single moment that you can, not just for yourself, but for all the people around you that mean something to you. You have no idea what you do and how those things that you do could possibly impact other people's lives for a very, very long time in a very positive way. So please, have a good time, but remember, you're not alone, and other people care about what you do. Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
The hat count is.
Oh, wait, we got it.
Four.
Oh, boy. We have any final donations before we do the hat count?
Final count is $120.40.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I'll fly.
I honestly don't know.
I'm going to go pee and then probably go to the
Have you been
probably going to pee and then
Let me check Telegram and see.